Hi there. Now I will install the hardware that is needed to hold the rudder, the side stays and the front stays. And that is what we're going to do today.
This is the two fastening points I want, and I have the same setup on the other hull. For side stays I also want two separate fastening points. This will give me a backup if one fails. The rudder will be held with two ring bolts. With an axle through the rings I will get a simple setup for the rudder. I choose a drill slightly bigger than bolt size, as this will give me some room for epoxy while still keep the bolt straight. I have previously installed reinforcements, and I want the bolt to hit in the middle of the strong point and be aligned over each other. Having marked where to drill, I drill 2 cm below the deck, and it comes out on a good spot, and the bolt fits fine. The lower one comes out a little bit off, but still within the strengthened area, and the eyes are in line with each other. Also on the inside of the bow I have made reinforcements, and these should fit. But I check the distance to the hatch opening and back to the hardware installation to make sure. 4 cm from the front to the top stay fastening point, and 11 cm to the hardware for the middle stay. I mark the center of each fastening point. I don't have the perfect length of screws, so when I pre-drill for the screws, and I don't want the screws to go through, I drill at an outward angle. This will also make any shock energy from the stay spread over a bigger area. Of course, I don't want to overdo this, as I still want the screws to lay somewhat flat in the cone of the hardware. Having installed all 6 screws, I check that the screws haven't gone through the material. Now the side stays. Also here I have strong points below the deck that I check the distance to. I mark the distance to the wall and to the end of the strong point. It's small, but enough. To save weight I have made the strengthening small, but still large enough to fit 8 screws with some margin. There are 2 separate strong points, one on each side of the bulkhead. Both are supported by 3 walls, thus spreading the shock waves from the stay over a large area, while still not adding much weight. Having pre-drilled all screws, I will put some epoxy in the holes. This will water seal the joining between the screws and the holes, as well as also glue the hardware to the surface. I wipe off the excess to make the installation clean, and proceed with the next hardware. I only use a small amount of epoxy, about a drop for each hole. Soon I have all screws in place. I add some cotton filler to the leftover epoxy and put the thickened epoxy into the holes for the ring bolts. Using the bolt I get the epoxy into the hole. I wipe off the excess and put the bolt in the hole. Wipe off the excess also on the inside before I continue with the next. In the next episode there might be some sailing. Please join me then.